some people who are saying that we got money, they don't know where the money is going to in the budget. That's just basically blatantly misleading people. Every month, we give the council expenses on where the money is going to.
So you give them a report of what we're bringing in and what's going out?
Every month, every single month. So you know what bills we have and what the payroll is. We've said over and over and over again that we bring in roughly between $800,000 to $870,000 a month in sales taxes. Well, payroll is roughly $807,000 a month. That's not even including our bills. So we already see that payroll and sales taxes are almost canceling each other out. So for anyone that said, well, we don't know where the money is going, that's why we can't make decisions about bringing in more revenue, it's just basically, it's not factual. What is factual is that we have this amount of revenue coming in and we need more to provide better quality of services for the citizens in South Selma.
Well, you know, another topic, hot topic last night they talked about was the ad valorem tax, or the property tax. I'm understanding that people, because we don't have a budget, don't believe that we don't have adequate revenues. But I think Councilman LaShore has been saying that we didn't have those revenues since he first got on the council.
Well, it's nothing new. For a year long, along with Councilman LaShore, we've been saying we're at a point that the city is in a financial crisis. We need revenue to make sure that we can continue to provide the services. And for example, I use for example, trash services. Yet today, we have not had a vote or received funding to get new trash trucks. Yet in the same voice, you hear people saying we need to make sure that the trash is being picked up, or the mayor's office is not picking up the trash. People need to understand that there's a team work that goes on to make sure services are being provided inside the city. Number one, the council provides the revenue and the capital equipment trucks. In turn, once they provide that, it's our job on the executive level to make sure that we're going out executing, which means to go out and pick up the trash. But if we don't have the revenue of the trucks, you can't hold us accountable for resources that we don't have. That falls on the back of the council. And so when people say, well, we don't know, we're not sure where the revenue is going, well, the limited revenue we have, there's nowhere to go. It's sure not going to buying trucks. It's sure not going to any kind of special projects. It's going to pay payroll and make sure that we're paying our bills, which we are almost caught up with.
Well, you know, they did have a capital equipment meeting on this past Monday. And in that meeting, you know, it was expressed that there should be a mechanism in place to purchase the vehicles and pay for the vehicles and maintain the vehicles. But I'm not sure if the chairwoman took that in consideration to go forward. So hopefully she was listening to the council person who actually brought it up. I think that was Councilman Johnson. And we can go forward, because that sounds like a good idea. I think that's actually what we're doing with the police department. They're getting new cars through the red light fund, Cam, and we got 5 new vehicles on the road that we can pay for because there's a plan in place. And that's, I think, all we've been asking for ever since the entire year. Comprehensive plans, how to pay for the things, because you don't want to go into debt as a city.
Exactly, and as mayor, we make suggestions about how this can be done. But I don't have a vote on the council. The council by law has the power to generate revenue. By law has the power to create local laws. So when we start asking about revenue, that's not the job of the mayor's office to generate revenue. Because if it was our job, we would have been done it by now. We want to continue to kick the can down the road. And it is my hope that the council won't continue to kick the can down the road. I think it's important that I say this. We inherited, and I think it's important people understand, we inherited a mess. We are fixing what we inherited. And that's one of the reasons we ran for office, to come in to put Selma on sound footing, to make sure that the next generation don't have to continue to deal with what the past generation did. And so we are continuing to fix the issues we have inside the city, and it's going to cause for some tough decisions to be made. Anytime you go into a crisis, you have to triage. What's important now? What we need to address now? And what we're finding out is that the council had to work with us to triage this stuff. It's important that we fix the issues that we inherited. We can't continue to say, well, let's see where the money is going. We know we don't have no money to spread. We're spread thin already. To the point when we came in, there was 326 employees on payroll. We're down to 264. So from the mayor's perspective, from the mayor's office and executive level, we have made changes. We've made cuts inside of the things that we can do to salvage some of the revenue that we have. It's time for the council to do some on their end now.
Well, I can tell you, this morning on my way to work, I drove down North Broad, and I hope that what you said on Friday is true. If we can get this gasoline tax in place, please let North Broad be the first project.
It's going to be the first project, no doubt. You're taking your life into your own hand driving down some of the streets inside of Selma. And I think it's important that the council make decisions. And the reason why it's so important, right now on the federal level, the federal government is talking about fuel tax. How do we take a fuel tax and make sure we repair the infrastructure of America? The state government is talking about fuel tax. How do we take fuel tax and repair state roads? Well, the city should have the same conversation, because what happened on the federal level, money will start with the federal government, state will get some, counties will get some, and then cities last. On the state level, state will get the bulk of the money, counties get some, cities last. But if the city takes the bull by the horn and say, we're going to do our own fuel tax, the city gets all of the funding, and we can use that funding for a comprehensive plan to make sure that all streets inside of Selma are repaid on a 5-year plan. So we may not get to your street this year, but you're on the plan. So we may be able to get to 5, 6, 7, 8 streets throughout the year with the increase in revenue. But next year we'll begin to other streets, and hopefully we can have the longevity of these streets will be 5 to 10 years, which means the streets in Selma will be safe to travel, and we'll have citizens who don't have to worry about potholes, their rims getting dented, and tires getting flat because of potholes inside the street. That's leadership.
Well, you know, my car sits low, so I was very...
You have a low rider?
I got a Honda.
Okay.
So it sits kind of low. And North Broad, man, it was rocky. This morning I was like, I gotta find another way to get to work.
And so what we're going to be doing, every year the city gets oil lease money. What is oil lease money? Money that's given to the city for capital improvements. We are going to ask the council, and as a matter of fact, I'm asking the council now, if any of them are watching us, let's use that money not to divide and go to our separate wards, but let's use this money for major projects. North Broad is a major project. We already know estimates have been $75,000 to repave that road, whether repave that street. That is one way we can take this money and use it. I think it speaks volumes when we get this oil lease money in and we divide it out per ward. That's not unity. We have disguised that as being unity over the years. That's basically dividing us, because we can do little with less, but we can do much if we take our less and put it together. And that's what we're going to be asking the council to do. And maybe we can get 2 or 3 projects here, and then next year when the oil lease money come in, take that money to do in other parts of the city. When you're on the council, you just can't think about your ward. You have to think about all of the city. So you can't say, I'm just speaking for this ward, or I'm just representing this ward. No, you represent all of Selma. So in the cities, you make impact the entire city, not just the ward that you're in.
Well, you know, and I know another topic that came up was that forensic audit.
Yes.
You know, we have the auditing firm actually right now, as we speak, conducting the audit. Not the forensic audit, but the regular, normal audit. And they're going to be looking for things that are forensic in nature. But I know we're still missing that revenue part to get them on to actually conduct the audit.
Well, there's two things that I think is important that people understand. Number one, the law provides that we should have a general audit done anyway. And as mayor, the mayor decides on the general audit. And the council by law is responsible for funding and the reasonable price of that general audit, which we already started the general audit. But the general audit is not the same as a forensic audit. A general audit just says you are doing what you say you're doing, and you are handling the finances of the city like the policies that you have in place. While forensic audit is something that is an investigation. You're looking for flaw. You're looking for corruption. Now, the council, not me, the council voted that they wanted a forensic audit.
But then they voted that they didn't want it.
Then they said, we don't want the audit. Then they came back and said, we wanted the audit. Then I heard recently the council said, well, Why is it taking the mayor so long to do the audit? It's important to understand in a forensic audit, you have to give a scope of what you want the people to investigate. A scope, you got to be specific on what you want them to look at. Yet today, council has not given me a scope of what they want the forensic audit to be about. They the one voted to have an audit. Yet today, they haven't given us the dollars or the money to pay for the audit. So voting to say you want an audit is not the same thing as giving us a scope and giving us the money. The council voted to give one-time raises if the money was there. That's not a real vote because you knew the money was not there. Just to say you want a forensic audit, but not to give the scope of the audit, not to give the money for the audit, it's still just like another vote taken at all. So if the audit really wanted to go forward, the burden is on the council to tell us what they want, because they don't want to vote for the forensic audit. I don't know what they want us to look at. Me personally, I think we need to look at everything. But the council voted, and I'm not sure exactly what it is they want to vote. So if the council give me a scope of the audit that they want and be willing to pay for it, because it's expensive to do an audit. What we did do, we gave the council 3 areas of concerns that we had, which we shared about a month ago with the council. These are areas we would like the council to look, the forensic audit to focus on. We even gave them a dollar amount that the firm told us it would cost for those 3 areas. It was roughly 50 hours and roughly just around $13,000 for that. But it was a limited scope that we wanted them to focus on. We know that. That's from the mayor's end. But I need to hear from them. They voted for it, for this audit, not me. So I need to hear what they want to see looked at.
So what you're saying is kind of simple. Vote to give us the money and vote on what they actually want to look at.
Exactly. It's simple. So the ball is in their court. Again, on the executive level, and I think there's been so much confusion inside the city of Selma about whose responsibility is what, because people have got so accustomed to and so used to bad forms of government that now they got good form of government. It's confusing. Good form of government is that you stay in your lane. We execute. The council passed local laws and generate revenue. We're not trying to step into that lane. Now, if the law provides to give us the power to raise revenue, we know we need it, we would do it, but we don't have the power to do that. If we have the power to just go and buy capital equipment without the council blessing and approval, we'll go and do that. But we're not going to try to do something like that which the law does not provide for. And we're actually working in an environment where people need to understand the roles of government. And government is not a fix-all for everything. Because when we talk about this trash issue, the local citizens play a role in that. You don't put your trash out on the side of the street.
Out the window.
They'll throw it out the window. You don't do things like that. Be responsible for your own household, and I think that plays a huge role in this conversation as well. So there's some things that we have to work on. We do have a budget. Everybody know where the money is going to. We need more revenue. If we do not get more revenue, we have old trucks. We continue to say this for months. 2 trucks that are basically working now. That's almost 20 years old. If those trucks break down, we just won't be able to provide services. And that's not on the executive level. We only can work with what we have. So if we don't have trucks, we can't pick it up.
Right.
So we're going to continue to have this conversation. It's our hope that the council will provide the revenue, the capital equipment things that we need to continue to do inventory on capital equipment. By God, we have given out the capital equipment list months ago. But to continue to ask for the same list over and over and over, having the list is not going to give us new trash trucks. Having the list ain't going to give us new police cars. Having the list is not going to solve these problems. Yes, we can take some of the stuff on the list and maybe sell it to the general public, but that's not going to make us whole. That's not going to help us purchase a $150,000 trash truck. Might help us put $5,000 or $10,000 in a coffin somewhere, but it's not going to help us address the immediate needs that we have in Selma. So decisions have to be made. To not make a decision is a decision itself.
But that's poor leadership.
Leadership is about making decisions and being willing to deal with the consequences of your decisions. You can't say, well, it's not always popular to make tough decisions. You know, you'll get crucified for making tough decisions. But when people see the benefit of the decision that you made, popular opinion changes all the time. But you shouldn't be in these positions for opinions. You should be in the position to lead. And that's what people elected us to do. Not to get polls. You know, let's see what's popular. How many people like this? If you're being moved by the polls, you'll never make a decision. Polls change every day. They fluctuate back and forth every day. You got to be moved by your convictions and what you know is what is right. If you believe in your heart to your core being that something is right, by God, do it. But if you're just doing it because you think you're gonna upset some people, or you're being hesitant about making a decision, that's not what we were elected to do. We were elected to make tough decisions. If we weren't elected to make tough decisions, everybody would be in these positions. Everybody. It would be no need for elections. People are elected to make tough decisions, to move cities forward, to move states forward, to move the nation forward. And that's what we're asking. Those who have been elected with us, let's make the tough decisions so those that come behind us won't have to deal with the same issues. And yes, again, we have a budget. We know where the money is going. And the forensic audit, we're waiting to hear back from the council so we can move forward with the forensic audit.
Any questions?
Any questions we have today? Well, again, thank you all for tuning in, to listening with us. We want to be transparent with you. If there's ever a time that you hear any misinformation, that you've been misled to believe that things are going on in City Hall, contact us. Please, right now we have a process that's going on that we actually need to send in questions. You can send it to mayor office at selma-al.gov. We're going to take time to answer those questions every week. Again, that's mayor office at selma-al.gov. Or visit us on the city website. Send us questions. Call the office at 874-2101 to ask your question, because we want to share it live here on media outlets, be it on the PEG channel, be it through social media, be it on the radio. We want to keep it keep transparency right before your eyes to answer every question that you have. We know there are many questions, but please don't let the wool be pulled over your eyes. What you are hearing so often is not true. If you don't hear it from the mayor's office, please consider that and take it with a grain of salt, because the reality is we have tough decisions to make on a daily basis. Every day we're making tough decisions to make your city better, our city better. And I believe together, you and I, we can move Selma boldly into the 21st century. Next time, we'll be talking more, but be blessed until we talk to you soon.
I want to give you one more shout out.
One more shout out.
Congratulations on your national championship.
Roll Tide, baby.
Yeah.
Roll
Take
Tide.
pride in the 2-7. 2-7.
Be blessed.